Ayurveda. And the reason I've decided that a group is necessary is because when I see people one-on-one, it often takes weeks, months, and sometimes years to make a decision about whether you're leaving a marriage or staying. And then if you're in a divorce, that can take years. And I recognize that the way people go through divorce is often dysfunctional. And it's dysfunctional because they're reactive. They're not showing up from their highest self. They're not showing up with compassion and empathy and clarity and courage. And I want to help them. And I want to help you help them if you work with those individuals. And the way to help them is to actually begin a dialogue that helps them connect to their best self. So I teach a process called compassionate mediation, which includes compassionate communication. So think about a client that you have, or think about your own situation. I'll share one of my clients with you. Her name is Debbie, and she's actually going through a divorce. And she came to me mid-divorce, where unfortunately months of court dealings and lawyer problems and animosity and issues between them and parenting and money are ongoing. And actually, my heart breaks for them, because when I see the pain and suffering that she's enduring, and she and her husband are suffering, and I can only imagine the energy that their children are living in. When I see all that, I know I can help them. And if you're a professional, I want to help you help. I do have a certification process called the Compassionate Mediation Certification. And if you'd like more information, direct message me or go to lindacurl.com/roadmap and get a free roadmap of the process. But let's go back to Debbie. So Debbie called me, and for the first several sessions, all she wanted to do was actually complain to me about her estranged husband. And I told her that I would listen, but it wouldn't really help, because what would happen instead is she'd just vent for a few minutes like she does to her family or friends, but she's not going to change her perspective. So when you're helping someone in relationship issues, or when it's yourself, when you look at your situation from a part of you that feeling like a victim and feeling stuck, and then you try to manage it by ignoring it or being angry. And then when you can't manage the sadness, you get extreme in some ways. You go drink too much or eat too much, or maybe go have an affair. Maybe you get depressed, get enraged, or maybe you hire your lawyer to stage a coup for you. It doesn't have to be that way. I'm an IFS therapist, internal family systems therapist. And in internal family systems, we talk about self and parts as being your higher self, part of you inside that's connected to your heart, your spirit, your soul, that is compassionate, calm, curious, connected, courageous, creative, curious, 8 C words, including grateful, that allow you to show up and see your situation in a different perspective. It keeps you from stop being the victim, so you can see that there is something for you to learn here. There's some personal and spiritual growth available to you. And if you give yourself permission, you can change your perspective. As Wayne Dyer says, when we change the way we look at something, what we look at changes. So I want to help women and men as well, but in this support group, it's just for women, to empower themselves to see the situation from their higher self, to heal the pain from the past, to let go of their limiting beliefs and judgments about themselves and each other, and to really relate from their heart. So whether they're thinking about a divorce, a separation, going through it, or even past it, there is a way for them to look at the situation knowing that there's something they can learn here. And if they heal the pain from the past, remove the walls around their heart that they think are keeping them safe, change the filters, the judgments with which they're judging their partner and themselves. And instead of doing that, if they are willing to connect to their best self and have compassion for everything they've been through, they can eventually have compassion for their partner, even if they're leaving. And especially if you're divorcing, restructuring your family, you want to begin a new relationship that's not a replication of the past. You want to give yourself a chance to start over, where you can show up in your best self. And if you have children, you can co-parent your children in 2 happy homes. And they don't have to get lost in what I call the shrapnel of their parents' animosity. And you know what I mean. If you're in the same room with your estranged partner, but your attitude, like Debbie's, was one of victimhood or resentment or judgment or fear or anger or blame, even if she doesn't say a word, the experience of her children is to feel that between their mother and their father. And then, of course, if he's feeling judged, if he's feeling unappreciated, unseen, if they're both bringing out their attorneys to throw lawsuits at each other and threaten guardian ad litem's and psych evals and all that horrible stuff, it doesn't need to be that way. People can learn how to compassionately communicate and even talk about all of the issues they need to talk about for an ending. And that's what we do in compassionate mediation. Hi, Marilyn. Thanks for joining. I'm here to answer your questions and to give you the benefit of my 35 years of experience as an IFS, internal family systems therapist, mediator, attorney. I'm a Chopra Certified Teacher of Meditation, Yoga, and Ayurveda. And I want to be here for why ever you are here. So if you would like to raise your hand, I would love to invite you onto the virtual stage here so that you can ask me anything, whether you're here for yourself, whether you're here as a professional. I'm really here to be present to whoever comes today. So would you like to? I'm going to invite you. If you want to react, let's see, I think you can raise your hand under the emojis on the bottom. And let's see if I can bring you up in case you want to. So I'm trying to get you up here, Marilyn. Or if you're on the live and you want to message me, you can try that. But I would really love to give you the benefit of whatever your question is. Try raising your hand at the bottom of your. So, Marilyn left. Okay, I'm back to offer support. Put her on the spot. So what I want you to know is that I'm glad you're back, Marilyn. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I'm going to keep talking. So if you're here for yourself, I hope you get some tips. And if you're here as a professional, I want to give you the benefit of my 35 years of helping individuals and couples navigate the time when either they're not sure if they want to stay or go, they're in the middle of a separation or divorce, or they are past their divorce and still have problems relating. And what I do is with anyone that comes to me, whether they're coming as an individual for individual counseling, whether they're coming as a couple for couples counseling, where one or both have thought about a separation or divorce, or whether they come to me for mediation, which I've done a lot of. What I've learned is that they need support. And my upcoming Women's Empowered Divorce Support is a new group that I'm creating to offer support right now to women. Eventually I'll have a group for men, but right now to women who are stuck in either indecision or fear or sadness or hurt or pain or resentment or confusion or feeling lost and alone. And what this group is going to do is going to offer a haven for camaraderie, for connection, for support, for information. I give you the benefit of my 35 years of experience. It's like having a therapist, mediator, attorney, and spiritual coach in your back pocket. And it provides emotional and spiritual healing along with legal and financial information and support. So if people want to become members, you can go to lindakroll.com/weds and check it out. Or learn more about it. You don't have to join, you can just learn more about it. And if you're a professional, do the same, lindakroll.com/weds. And I'll get back to you, because as a professional, I want to give you the skill set where you can use these techniques with people that you work with. You can also go to lindakroll.com/roadmap, ROADMAP, and get the roadmap of my compassionate mediation process. and then begin to consider whether you want to learn how to do this to offer it to your clients, because I do have a certification in compassionate mediation. But let's get back to some of my clients in case they relate to you. I was talking about Debbie, and Debbie came to me, and she is beside herself, if I may say. And my goal for her is to reach a place of compassion for herself where she doesn't have to keep regurgitating what happened in the past, bringing it into the present and rejecting it in the future. And if she goes on a rant, or wants to vent, if she's talking just to me, I'll let her do it for a few minutes, but I won't let her keep going, because as I tell her, she can complain about her ex to me for 45 minutes and then she's going to leave and not feel much better. It's probably what she says to her friends, to her family, who may be tired of listening, which is the other reason why I wanted to put this group together. Because when you are with other people who understand, you feel normalized, you feel supported, you don't feel crazy. I know my story was that I married my college sweetheart, and about 20 years into the union, it looked like it was headed for divorce. And for a long time, I was ambivalent. I stayed stuck. Did I want to stay or go? And when I finally left, it took me 10 years of being separated before we finalized the divorce. And in all that time, I was codependent. I wasn't saying what I really wanted and needed. And I realized there was a lot of dysfunction that I was doing personally that exacerbated the situation. So using my therapy degree, my mediation training, my legal training, and my spiritual training at the Chopra Center, I came up with a new way to relate to each other. And on the day we finally got divorced, I wrote my soon-to-be ex-husband a prayer, a settlement prayer. And I put it as a prayer. I also have it as an intention in the comments. If you'd like it or direct message me, I'd be happy to send you a copy of it. And what it says is, and I'm reading it because this is the basis of what I want to help people do in the Women's Empowered Divorce Support. We're going to meet a few times a month. We're going to have access to my compassionate mediation program that helps you be your best self, create a compassionate relationship, explore your options, understand your rights and finances, and create the relationship you truly desire and deserve. Because sometimes it's not a linear process. We think we want to get divorced, and we think if we only get divorced, we'll feel better. But the reverse is true. You have to feel better before you make these life-changing decisions. So in the Women's Empowered Divorce Support, what we do first is connect to your best self. How do you practice exquisite self-care? How do you do things that will nurture your soul? How do you heal from the past, whether it's therapy or journaling or meditating or being part of the group? How do you heal so that you can get to your calm, compassionate, clear, courageous, confident self, and then decide what to do moving forward? And you can do this even in the middle of a divorce, because with the right support, you can take a breath. I'm going to take a breath. And understand that whatever you're experiencing is based on the past, based on both you and your partner doing the best you knew how to do at the time, knowing that you can do better moving forward if you learned how. It allows you to let go of your limiting beliefs and judgments, along with letting go of the pain from the past. Because if all you want to do is kind of regurgitate over and over what he did, what he didn't do, you're going to get stuck there. And that is so sad to see someone stuck, because they're not giving themselves access to their higher self-wisdom. Because when they do, they realize that both of you did the best you knew how to do. Maybe he was narcissistic, but maybe you were codependent. Maybe you could have gotten yourself to a therapist sooner to set appropriate boundaries or to leave. So instead of blaming him for being the way he was, or blaming yourself, you put what I call a spiritual graft. And my spiritual graft, G-R-A-F-T, is an acronym I came up with a couple months ago to put yourself into Here I am. I'm back. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry, Marilyn. I'm back. Anyway, my spiritual graft. I realized that most of the pain we feel in our lives, especially when we're looking at a relationship transition, is based on our ego's wounds. And our ego gets wounded when our expectations aren't met, when the way we think things shoulda, woulda, coulda been, or how he should have treated me or doesn't treat me, and how bad he is, and our judgments. Someone once said that expectations are premeditated resentments. So when our ego hits a wall and the relationship we thought we were going to be with forever is now looking at an ending, that dream explodes or implodes. And we have to grieve it. We have to grieve the dream. But we can also put a spiritual graft on the wounds, G-R-A-F-T. The G is for gratitude. Let's go to some form of gratitude with your partner. If you have children, thank God you have your children. Thank your partner for your children. If you have a home, assets, you can be grateful for what you have, because in that gratitude, it will soften your anger, your resentment, your judgment. So start with gratitude. R-A in graft is radical acceptance. And that means that you just accept what is. You don't recriminate or blame yourself for staying too long, or judge yourself or judge your partner. Deep breath with me here. You just radically accept that you are where you are. And then the F is forgiveness. And forgive yourself first. Don't judge yourself by what you coulda, woulda, shoulda done. Don't judge yourself for not leaving sooner. Don't judge yourself for taking abuse or reacting abusively. Just forgive yourself. And eventually, hopefully, you'll be able to forgive your partner. Doesn't mean you're going to reconcile. It just means your children will grow up in an energy that's much softer, warmer, more loving, more expansive, safer, happier, because there's not the animosity and the judgment and the walls and the filters and the blame. So gratitude, radical acceptance, forgiveness is the F, and trust is the T. And trust means you trust the process. First of all, you learn how to trust your higher self. Whether you work with me, whether you're in the group, whether you learn how to get in touch with that better part of you, you learn to trust that it's in there and you can make the changes you want to make. So what you're going to do is you're going to begin to trust that you can find the right support group, which I hope will be the one I'm offering to you. And you'll get the right therapist, you'll get the right attorney if you need an attorney, but you'll trust that you'll know how to show up, not a victim, not powerless, but empowered, a woman's empowered divorce support, because you will have all the knowledge you need. You have worked through the pain from the past. You will have forgiven yourself and maybe even your partner. And then you will show up and create something new. So that's what we're going to do in the Women's Empowered Divorce Support. And I'd love to have you join me. We'll be starting soon. But I want to go back and read my settlement prayer because, like I said, I married my college sweetheart. And when we were in court with our attorneys in the back room deciding our lives, and even though I was an attorney, I couldn't say anything, which is why I created compassionate mediation so that people can have a say in their future. And I made a prayer. I gave it to my soon-to-be ex and his attorney, and humorously, the attorney turned to him and said, "Hey, Pete, anything you want to change on this?" And they didn't. So they let me read it, or they read it themselves. And I hope it set the tone for the kind of divorce I wanted to have and the kind of future I wanted to have. So my settlement prayer was, I pray for a peaceful and respectful settlement meeting in which all parties come together from their highest selves and their truest connection to your guidance, wisdom, and love. And if it's not a prayer for you, just listen from a position of an intention. I pray or intend that the parts of ourselves that are angry, fearful, defensive, revengeful, retributive, punitive, unloving, unforgiving, sad, young, abandoned, resentful, negative, hurting, and hurtful, that all these parts be quelled with the leadership of the self, coming from a place of trust in your wisdom and love. I pray that the parts of ourselves, I pray for compassion forgiveness, gratitude, and trust. I pray, although our marriage, I pray for compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, and appreciation. Although our marriage has come down to a business closing of money and asset division, I ask that we remember the love that brought us together and the wonderful children which our union has borne. For their sakes as well as our own, we wish to put an end to this process in as respectful and loving a way as possible. Although we each carry our own sadness and pain and mutual regrets, I pray that we can look beyond this difficult period to a time when we can be friends and coexist peacefully. I pray that our once intact family can be rearranged to two intact and loving homes where our children feel connected and comfortable. I pray that we can hold in a different light the love that once joined us forever, that on the deepest level, we wish each other well as we let go and let God direct our lives. For the sake of all we once had and all we had planned to share together, for the sake of all we once had, and for all we had planned to share together, let us now, for the sake of all we once had and all we had planned to share together, let us now finalize the terms of our marital dissolution so that we both are free to get on with our lives. Let us complete this last painful task with a sense of trust in the love we once shared and hopefully can remember after this part is over. Let us not work from purely simple and self-serving motives, but keep in mind the general welfare of each of us and our children. Let us request our attorneys to contribute what is needed for the mutual benefit of all concerned. In the end, let us know that we behaved civilly, that we can look back with a clear conscience, and that as much as we could, we came from our hearts. And if you want to add God bless and direct us all, amen, you can. But set at God bless and God bless us and direct us all. So listen from a prayer, set an intention, join me in the Women's Empowered Divorce Support Group. Join me in the Women's Empowered Divorce Support Community, where I can be there by your side, where I can offer you the benefit of my personal experience. I can offer you my heart-centered support for what you're going through. I can offer you legal information, financial information. I can offer you a haven where other people will share their wins and share their progress, where you can feel safe sharing your feelings, and create a system that you can put into place now that can change the trajectory of your life and your children's life if you have them. And when you're wondering whether you should join or not, I don't want cost to be an issue, because what's it costing you not to get support? I have one person I talked to who just spent $60,000 so far in attorney fees. Now they're bringing in a guardian ad litem and psychologists for their children. She sees a therapist several times a month. She sees a financial planner. Her children see therapists. All this cost is adding up, plus all the costs that she's losing by not being present at work from the stress that she's feeling or the sleep that she's losing. It doesn't have to be that way for you. You can join the group and get ongoing support. So you know that in our Facebook group, I'll be there. You'll see me live. I will know who you are, and I will help you move from where you are now to where you want to be. So please check it out. I'd love to share more of the details with you. And remember, you deserve to feel peaceful, happy, supported, safe. And if you don't feel that way now, it may be because you're in a relationship that needs to end. It may be because you're telling yourself the same stories that kind of re-injure you instead of give you an opportunity to look at it from a new perspective. But what you can do is join me in the Women's Empowered Divorce Support Community and get all the support you need now and ongoing so that you can feel clear, confident, happy, peaceful, so that your children will benefit from getting their mother back. Your work will improve, your health will improve, and you will improve the relationship with your ex, and truly begin to create a future where you have support, you have a co-parent, you have peace. And when you do that, you don't have to give up so much time with your children. I know another client of mine is now in a battle for how much time are they going to share. Well, the battle is the problem, because if they learn to speak to each other with compassion, where they learn to be courageous and curious with each other and compassionate, they can find out what each other needs. And usually mothers often feel, I'm not giving up 50%. Usually mothers feel, I'm not giving up 50% of the time with my children. I've had them full time. My husband's been missing. Now all of a sudden he wants to become a good father. That's not fair. I'm going to fight for more time. Well, the fight for more time is what's going to undermine your time. Because aside from the fact that it may take years and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, truly, to battle it out, just start being compassionate now. And you will find that if you create a better relationship with your partner, you truly can work out the details. And if the union that you're creating as a restructured family becomes one where you can be friends with each other, you will find that if you give each other the right of first refusal, meaning if you give a parenting schedule and your ex-husband can't be with the children, but it's a good relationship with you that he can say, do you want them? I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to be home late. Can they sleep over? You can be with your children. You can learn how to be at the same events together. I have people that I helped with my compassionate mediation process who, after they were divorced, traveled to their daughter's college graduation, even stayed in the same room. They had parties together every Christmas in their former house. You can create a new relationship. Divorce doesn't have to be like it's been for decades, with the acrimony and the pain and the sadness and the hurt and the damage. I often say the biggest, when you're worried about your children, the biggest gift you can give your children is to minimize conflict between you and your spouse. So I want to help you do that. I want to help you in the community. I've been working for 35 years. My private practice is full. And the reason I wanted to offer this online was because my passion was to reach as many people as possible with a message of forgiveness, trust, compassion, starting over, and allowing, I always say that families need not be broken, but can be peacefully and respectfully restructured. I'd like to help you restructure yours. And if you're a therapist or coach who works with people who are considering or going through a divorce, I'd love to offer you my process. I also give continuing education credits from the National Board of Certified Counselors and the International Coach Federation for my courses. So go to lindacroll.com/roadmap to get a roadmap of the process and set a time for us to chat and see if the certification would be something you'd like to learn. And if you're interested for yourself or your clients, go to lindacroll.com/weds, WEDS, and sign up to learn more. We are going to be starting soon. I'd love to have you join. And together, I always say, together we can change the face of divorce, one heart at a time. I'd love to offer my help to your heart and help you heal the hearts of others. Thank you so much for spending time. Thank you so much for listening. Please direct message me. Let me know how I can be of help. And I look forward to staying connected. I'll talk with you soon. Bye for now.